So, I was always on. I'm on X, I'm on Twitter, and I'm watching. I see the news stories as they come up. And here it comes, a headline about a Canadian-born peace activist, Vivian Silver. And she disappeared from an Israeli kibbutz near Gaza during the Hamas terrorist attacks of October 7th. Friends and family, they held out hope she was among the hundreds of hostages taken by terrorists, and maybe she'd be released one day. Unfortunately, those hopes were dashed. But in the evening of November 13th, CTV News released a story with this subdued headline stating, Canadian peace activist Vivian Silver, who went missing after the Hamas attack, has died. That's it. That is what the headline said. The purposeful understatement of the significance and circumstances of Silver's death enraged me and many Canadians, and the CTV has been getting roasted, as they should, ever since. They stubbornly left the headline intact since then, though, and they won't edit it. Now, the way that headline was composed, it made it sound as if Silver had passed away from natural causes. It also simply said she was missing rather than possibly kidnapped. Maybe she just went for a walk and didn't come home. In the body of the story, though, they did say her son said she was murdered, as if perhaps she still died another way and her son's just making stuff up. Vivian Silver was brutally murdered by Hamas terrorists, and the headline should have reflected nothing less than that, yet CTV deliberately tried to minimize this. Headline writing, it's an art form. And in the world of social media, it's more important than ever. Headlines, they need to communicate the most important element of a story, and they have to grab the attention of prospective readers. The CTV headline did neither. Legacy media has been reticent about publishing anything that might paint Hamas in a bad light lately for whatever reason. Look, Hamas is a terrorist organization. This isn't a matter of my opinion. That's the status that was conferred upon that group by the government of Canada 20 years ago. Even if they weren't formally declared being a terrorist organization, anybody seeing the horrific atrocities carried out by Hamas can understand the terrorist nature of the group, or at least most people can. Every murder carried out by Hamas is tragic, but the case of Vivian Silver, that one holds extra significance. You see, Silver was a peace activist who supported the concept of Palestine and a two-state solution. She worked to bring Gazan citizens to Israeli clinics for treatment across the border, and she even organized protests against Israel for its actions in the West Bank. She was on the side of Palestinians. In return for her goodwill, Hamas rewarded her by butchering her and violating her remains so badly it took 5 weeks to identify them. Semitic people attach a special sanctity to the remains of their deceased. That's why Hamas goes out of its way to desecrate the bodies of their victims whenever possible. So why did Hamas murder one of its allies? Well, the answer is pretty simple. They killed her because she was Jewish. It's as simple as that. She was not human in their eyes. Their mandate is to kill every Jew in Israel, and they make no exceptions. And again, this isn't opinion. It's right in the bloody Hamas mandate. It's online. You can read it for yourself. She was a kafir who must be slaughtered along with every other Jew, from babies to senior citizens. The murder of Silver shines a light, though, on just how extreme Hamas is. It shows just how insulting it was when Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister, G.I. Melanie Joly, vacuously said Hamas should be at the table and negotiated with. You can't negotiate with a group that fanatical and that violent. What common ground could possibly be reached? You only kill half the Jews? Come on, Joly. Any competent Minister of Foreign Affairs would realize this. Silver's vicious murder drove home how idiotic Joly's utterances were, and Canada's subsidized legacy media never wants to rattle the tree of the government that pays its bills. Little wonder some hoped the killing of Silver just wouldn't be noted and would soon be forgotten. Well, we're not going to let that happen. Legacy media has been indulging domestic fanatics when it refuses to call out Canadian peace marches, when the organizers of the marches can't chant the genocidal phrase from the river to the sea. And it's a statement to call for the extermination of the Jews of Israel, folks. Even now, media is reporting on the alleged civilian casualty numbers coming from Gaza and sourcing the Gazan Health Authority for them. The Gazan Health Authority is run by Hamas, you guys. Do you think an organization willing to behead and burn babies might be willing to lie on their press releases? Legacy media still takes them at their word. Israel's gone to great lengths to offer a reality check to media outlets in denial of the Hamas atrocities. They've presented screenings to journalists and politicians around the world depicting Hamas terrorists gleefully slaughtering Jewish families while bragging about their conquests. This isn't Israeli-created footage. This is the footage that Hamas themselves took while they rampaged. They're proud of it. And even with this evidence, many within the legacy media are reticent about condemning Hamas. The CBC has banned the use of the word terrorist. Yes, they banned the use of the word terrorist in their reporting. Again, despite Hamas actually being a terrorist group, as clear a terrorist group as you will ever find. Why would any organization try to sugarcoat that fact? The manipulation of information by legacy media to understate the actions of Hamas and lend credibility to the terrorists is unforgivable. And I'm not rooting for the deaths or ends of Palestinians or Israelis. I don't harbor that kind of hatred. I am counting the days, though, to when legacy media dies the death it deserves. No, not a literal death of reporters or people. It's just an obsolete institution beholden to a government with its own agenda that it's time that it went away. And when you see crap like this that came out of CTV and we see the crap that comes out of CBC, it's time for these organizations to go.